So, hello then, welcome back to another Night of the Movies podcast. I'm Spy Knight, and in this podcast, I love talking about things, movies and TV, and whatever I want, whenever I want. And in today's podcast, I'm reviewing The Naked Gun. So, let's get into it, shall we? The Naked Gun is this sort of reboot slash continuation of the Naked Gun films, from the late 1980s to the early 1990s, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's when they came out. And there was 3 Naked Gun films that came out in the late 80s to the early 90s. Now, of those 3 Naked Gun films, I haven't seen the sequels. I haven't seen Naked Gun 2.5, and I haven't seen Naked Gun 3 3/4. Although I hear they're meant to be funny and I hear they're meant to be good, I haven't seen them, so I can't comment. However, I have seen the original Naked Gun, which came out in 1988, and I think that is a very, very funny movie. Now, I don't think it's one of the best comedies of all time, like some people do, but I do think it is a very, very funny movie, nonetheless, that still holds up now. So, when I heard that they were doing a sort of reboot slash continuation of the franchise, and I say slash continuation there because there are huge nods to the original Naked Gun films in this movie, particularly the original Naked Gun movie, the first Naked Gun film, and it does seem to be set in the same world as the previous Naked Gun movie, so although it's a reboot, it's also kind of a continuation. So when I heard that a reboot slash continuation was happening of the Naked Gun movies, I was quite skeptical to what that would be like, because I don't know in today's climate if you could make a great Naked Gun film. I don't know if you can make a Naked Gun movie which captures the same spirit of the original, because we're living in different times. The Naked Gun came out in the late 80s and now we're in the mid 2020s, so we're living in different times, and I just don't know if you could do that again today. Now, I will say my interest peaked when I heard that Liam Neeson got attached to the project, because Liam Neeson is a great actor in himself, but also he is very funny. You know, if you watch the Rick Gervais and Warwick Davis TV show Life's Too Short, there's a great scene in one of the episodes where Liam Neeson comes into Rick Gervais and Stephen Merchant's office, and Warwick Davis is there as well, and he says, I want to do comedy. He plays it completely straight, says, I want to do comedy, and it's honestly, the scene lasts for about 5 minutes. It's one of the funniest scenes I've seen anything, period. You don't even need to watch Life's Too Short to watch that scene. I mean, I saw that scene before I saw Life's Too Short, and I remember watching that scene for the first time and absolutely dying of laughter. I remember almost crying tears of laughter. It was that funny. I absolutely love that scene from Life's Too Short, you know, where Liam Neeson says, Spielberg has mentioned his list because I'm good at making lists. Oh my god, it's just so funny. And when I heard they was attached to do a comedy movie in the Naked Gun remake slash reboot slash continuation, whatever you want to call it, when I heard that he was attached to this movie, I was like, okay, that's a good choice. That's a good choice to replace Leslie Nielsen, who played the original Frank Drebin in the original Naked Gun movies. That's a good choice to replace that actor, because Liam Neeson is known for doing quite serious roles. He has done comedy in the past, and, you know, as I already said, he's done comedy very well, but he's known more for his serious roles, and having him do a flat-out comedy could be quite something. So, I will admit, I became more interested in the movie when I heard that Liam Neeson was attached, and I became further interested in the film when the trailers of the film started coming out. Now, I will say, the trailers of the film haven't made me fall on the floor laughing. I haven't laughed out loud at any of the trailers, but I have laughed at the trailers nonetheless. Each trailer I have laughed at. I will say, it's also, I don't think it's great how they keep repeating that one joke in each trailer for this movie. That one joke surrounding O.J. Simpson. Because O.J. Simpson was in the original Naked Gun films, and obviously there's a controversy surrounding O.J. Simpson. And there's that joke with him in the trailer, that joke regarding him in the trailer, which is a funny joke. But the amount of times I've seen that joke in every trailer for this movie kind of makes the joke wear thin quickly. So I do think it's a good joke. I just don't think it has the same effect that it did the first time I saw it. But every trailer I've seen had jokes in there that I laughed at. So I was like, okay, this could be a good comedy. I'm not very hopeful, but I am a little hopeful. I'm a little hopeful that this could actually work. And then a couple of days ago when the film came out, when it premiered, you know, people, a lot of critics and a lot of reviewers online, and I really need to stop doing this. I need to stop reading critic and reviews and watching reviewers talk about a movie before I see it, because it does slightly affect my opinion on the movie. But still, it's a force of habit. I can't get past that. I always do. When it's a film I'm interested in, I always have to read the reviews before I see it. I need to get past that. But anyway, a lot of reviewers and a lot of critics been giving this film like 4 stars, 5 stars, saying it's a great comedy movie. It's a return to great comedy movies, something we haven't had in a long while. And there was one critic, I'm not going to say where, but they said it was one of the best comedy movies of the past decade. I was like, wow, that's saying something. So I went into the film hoping for the best, hoping to have a great time, hoping to laugh out loud constantly throughout the film, and hoping to just have an absolute blast with this movie. Because that is what everyone was indicating it was going to be. And here's the thing. When I've gone to watch comedy movies in the past, I spoke about this on this channel, I'm often the one in the cinema sitting there not laughing at any of the jokes. Like, I've been to see quite a few comedy movies in the past at the cinema, and everybody else is laughing at the jokes, laughing away at what's going on screen, and I'm sat there like, I don't get it. Am I the odd one out? Am I on my own island here? I just don't find this funny. And I hate to say it, but that happened again here. This film wasn't for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I didn't think it was terrible either. But it wasn't for me. And I didn't find it that funny. I think I laughed about 4 or 5 times, and that's not what you want from a comedy that's meant to be a laugh out loud comedy. Like, people are saying this is a laugh out loud comedy of the summer, of the year, and whatnot. And I'm like, I didn't laugh out loud once. When I laughed, it was more of a chuckle. And there were some good chuckles within the first half an hour of the film. And there was one chuckle a bit later on. But that was kind of it. I didn't really find the film funny. And yet, I was sat in the cinema, which was quite full. And that's surprising to say, because I saw the film earlier today. I saw the film at like 12:30. And I didn't expect the cinema to be quite full. But nevertheless, it was. And I was sat there in the cinema. It was quite full. And most of the people in the cinema were laughing. So I know I'm going to be in the minority on this. I know most people are going to come out of this movie saying that was absolutely hilarious. But I hate to say I didn't. And you know, humour is a subjective thing. If you came out of this movie and you thought it was hilarious, you thought it was the funniest film of the year, then I am super happy for you. I don't want to take that away from you. But I'm just being honest. And if I wasn't being honest, what's the point of me doing these reviews on this channel? I came out of this movie and I was like, I wish I laughed so much more. I wish I had such a better time with that movie. And I wish it also felt like a Naked Gun film to me, because the film did not feel like a Naked Gun film to me. It didn't capture the same spirit of the original movie. I haven't seen the sequels to the original movie, but the original movie, you know, there's a seriousness to it. All the actors in that film play it straight. Whilst in this movie, it feels like all the actors are going for laughs. Like Liam Neeson, who I've seen be funny before, you know, in that scene in Life's Too Short, which is absolutely hilarious. But the thing is, in that scene in Life's Too Short, he plays it straight. He doesn't feel like he's playing it for laughs, even though he is. He plays it straight. And then in this movie, it feels like he's playing it for laughs. It feels like he's going, you know, guys, I'm trying to be funny here. I'm doing a comedy, so I'm trying to be funny. But instead, it just feels like he should have been playing it straight. I don't feel personally like he was. And that's the same with pretty much everybody in the film. I'm not saying anybody's bad in the movie, but they all feel like they're playing it for laughs. Porter Hauser, who's good in the film, feels like he's playing. He feels like his performance is for a comedy, which, you know, in the end, this film is a comedy, but so is the original Naked Gun. And a lot of the performances in that film don't necessarily feel like comedic performances. I mean, obviously Leslie Nielsen's does, but at the same time, a lot of the supporting performances don't. So that's what I think really makes that film work on another level. Whilst with this movie, Pamela Anderson feels like she's playing it for laughs. And I think Pamela Anderson is good in the film. I've got nothing against her in this movie. I just didn't like how the actors felt like they were playing it for laughs. A lot of the comedy in this film, right, feels like the writers and filmmakers behind this movie are going, okay, here's a joke, joke incoming, here is the joke. Laugh at the joke. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds here to laugh at the joke. Have you made sure you laughed at the joke? Have you laughed at the joke? Okay, you laughed at the joke, that's good. Now we're going to move on to the next joke. And here's the joke incoming. Here's the joke. This is the joke. Just in case you didn't get it, this is the joke. And now we're going to move on to the next joke. And it's like, okay, I get the point. I get the comedy you're going for. It's just not working for me. And a lot of the comedy in the original Naked Gun, you know, it's... You almost don't realise you're laughing at the comedy in the original Naked Gun before you start laughing, if you get what I'm saying. Like, you don't even realise you're laughing at the comedy in the original Naked Gun, but you are. The comedy comes so fast and so well done, and yeah, you're laughing before you even realise it when you watch that original Naked Gun. Whilst with this movie, it feels like they're trying to make you laugh too much, in my opinion. And I would have preferred there to be less silliness in this film. Yes, there is silliness in the original Naked Gun. Yes, there are so many ridiculous moments in the original Naked Gun. For sure, I'm not saying there aren't. But there's a level of believability with that movie as well. You care about the characters. And that's the thing about this movie. I didn't really care about any of the characters. You know, I was sat there like, I don't really care about Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson's relationship. They got good chemistry, nothing against them two again, but I just don't really care about the characters. Nothing about the films made me care about the characters, but I look at Frank Drebin in the original Naked Gun and I care about that character, you know? And like I said before, the comedy in this film is too silly. Like, there's a whole sequence in this film revolving around this snowman. I'm not giving any spoilers there, but, because if you haven't seen the film, you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, but like, that whole sequence felt like he was just overstretched for the sake of trying to make people laugh. But like, the snowman thing was funny for about 10 seconds, if that, and then I didn't find it funny anymore, you know? And there's also a sequence in the movie where, and it's in the trailers, where Liam Neeson's character, Frank Drebin Jr., needs a loo. And he's rushing through this place using his police gun to go to the loo. And it's a joke which doesn't work at all, and yet they stretch it out, making sure you really laugh at it and get the point of this joke. I'm like, I got the point of the joke. I don't find it funny. I'm not 12 years old. I don't find poo and wee jokes funny. I just don't. So I didn't laugh at that in the film. And there's this running joke in the film, this running gag surrounding coffee cups, which was funny for about 3 seconds the first time it happened, and yet they kept, and I mean kept, going back to it over and over again. I'm like, I get the point of the joke. Just get over it. Let's move past it. You know, and it just felt like the comedy was too in your face. It wasn't subtle enough. It didn't feel like anyone was really playing it straight. And yet, like, everybody gets comedy in this movie. Even the villains get comedy. I'm like, I don't understand why the villains are getting comedy in this film. Because if I'm not mistaken, in the original Naked Gun, the villain, and I might be wrong here, but the villain didn't have any comedic lines. The villain didn't have any comedy. The villain is a serious villain, and that, in my opinion, is one of the reasons that film works so well. Whilst with this film, the villain is given comedic moments, and I'm like, why are we meant to be laughing at the villain in this film? Why are we meant to be laughing at the antagonist? I don't get why. There's no reason to laugh at the antagonist here. This comedy is falling completely flat, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna say there aren't perks. I do think all the acting is good in the film. Nothing against the actors. I mean, it feels like they're trying a bit too hard, but it also feels like they're trying the best with the material they're given. And there's some nice nods to the original. There are some nice nods, and it's certainly not one of the worst comedies I've seen ever. But, you know, that's not saying much. I was really hoping for so much better. And again, there were people laughing in my cinema, so I'm probably going to be in the minority. I mean, I'll almost definitely be in the minority. But nothing about this film at least in my opinion, and again, this is my opinion, everybody got their own opinion, and that's why people do all these reviews on all these different channels and whatnot, that's why people discuss films, otherwise they wouldn't discuss movies if everyone had the same opinion about film. The things about this Naked Gun movie, nothing about it screamed Naked Gun to me. Like, this didn't need to be a Naked Gun film. If it wasn't a Naked Gun film, I wouldn't be sat there thinking, you know what, this would really work as a Naked Gun movie. It just felt like it could have been another spoof cop comedy. And I feel it was a Naked Gun film. I feel the producers made it a Naked Gun film because of money, and they wanted to cash in on a sort of well-known IP. And I say well-known there, though, because how well-known is the Naked Gun IP? Maybe to people like over 40 or over 30, if we're being generous, but a lot of people probably don't know about the original Naked Gun movies. I mean, it might be wrong, maybe I'm out of my depth saying that, but I just don't think a lot of people know about the original Naked Gun movies. And so making this a Naked Gun film, I don't think quite has the appeal that maybe the producers think it does, and maybe the writers think it does. And I think maybe also adding that sense of continuity with the original Naked Gun in there, which, is in the trailers of the film. I'm not giving that away. There's a sense of continuity. There's a element of this being in the same world as the original Naked Gun movies, also might confuse people a little. But then again, it might not. Maybe I'm just out of my depth there, but nothing about this film, at least for my money, felt like it needed to be a Naked Gun film. This could have just been another cop spoof comedy, and I think it would have worked just as well. But the thing is, it doesn't work well, at least in my opinion. I know I keep saying that as a review, but I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Comedy is all subjective, and if you found this film to be absolutely hilarious, I'm super happy for you. But I was sat there finding the film quite unengaged. I mean, the whole final act of the film directly copies a plot point from the final act of the first Kingsman film, Kingsman: The Secret Service. Again, I'm not going into any spoilers, but yeah, there's a thing they literally copy out of the final act of Kingsman: The Secret Service, and I was just thinking, okay, we've done this in another movie, we've done this in another similar kind of film, why are we doing it again here? And I don't know, I was hoping for so much more, and with all the reviews recently, I thought I was going to get so much more. I thought I was going to get one of the best comedies of the past decade. And I can already hear people saying, oh, you're just a grumpy pot, you don't want to laugh at it, or you're just not going to laugh at PC comedy, you're too politically correct, you're too PC. But the thing is, I will laugh at un-PC comedy if it's funny. One of my favourite one of my favourite comedy things of all time is the original UK version of The Office. And you want to know why it's one of my favourite comedy things of all time? Because it's funny. It's very un-PC. It's very not politically correct, but it's absolutely hilarious. I go back to the UK version of The Office and I will laugh myself silly every time I watch it. And when un-PC comedy is done well, I will laugh at it quite a bit. But this film feels like it's trying to be edgy, but not too edgy, because it wants to appeal to modern day audiences. But it wants to be edgy at the same time. It wants to be a bit un-PC, a bit, we're making fun of modern times, but at the same time, no, we're trying to be modern. We're trying to appeal to modern audiences. The comedy doesn't quite decide what it wants to be. And I can also hear people saying, well, you're just a grump. You don't laugh at any comedies. Well, that's not true. It wasn't this year, but late last year, Beetlejuice came out, and although Beetlejuice had a lot of problems, I'm not saying it didn't, it made me laugh, and it was a bit creepy, and it was a horror comedy, and I cared about the characters, so I got past all those films' problems, because I laughed, and I felt a bit creeped out by it, and I care about the characters. And the thing is, I would have been able to get past all the problems with this film, with The Naked Gun, if it was funny, and if I cared about the characters. Yet I didn't. If it was funny, I'd be sitting here going, you know what, a lot of the film didn't work, but I'd laughed out loud, and that was good enough. But again, I didn't. So that is why, that's the biggest reason the film didn't work for me. I just didn't find it that funny. I thought the comedy was overdone, and not nearly as sharp and well written as in the original Naked Gun. In the end, this film wasn't for me. And I'm gonna sound mean giving this rating, but I am going to say that The Naked Gun is a 2 out of 10. I mean, that sounds mean, but again, when a comedy film doesn't make you laugh, or doesn't make you laugh nearly enough, I mean, yeah, I laughed 4 or 5 times in the film. I chuckled 4 to 5 times. I'll, give credit where credit's due. I chuckled a little bit, but when a comedy doesn't make you laugh out loud once, then it's not doing its job right. It's not doing its job right at all, you know? And it feels too silly for its own good. Like, I was sat there thinking, what are we doing here? What are the jokes we're going for? Is this meant to be a modern day take on the Naked Gun idea? And if so, I'm not really a fan of this. So, yeah. This film wasn't for me. As I said, in this review already. And if it was for you, that's great. I don't want to take that away from you. But I came out the cinema feeling quite deflated. I went into cinema hoping to have a blast, hoping to laugh out loud so many times. And you know what? Most of the people in my cinema did. But I came out the cinema thinking, well, that was a big disappointment. It had so much potential with Liam Neeson, who can do comedy well when he plays it straight, as the lead. But it just feels like he's trying to make you laugh too much in this film. And that didn't work for me either. 4 or 5 chuckles in the film does not amount to a great comedy. Not in my opinion. But hey, that's just me. And so, all in all, as I've already said, and as I'm going to say once more in this review today, The Naked Gun is the 2 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, that's it for today's podcast. If you have seen The Naked Gun, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching or listening to this podcast. And if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like and subscribe on this video if you enjoyed the video, of course. If you enjoyed this podcast, of course. And look forward to many more videos and many more podcasts coming very, very soon on this channel. As I've already said, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. And I will see you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!